That was a good
All
time.
right.
That's hilarious.
Let's get on to our main topics that we brought young Oscar to talk about.
Let's do it.
Worlds is happening these days for League of Legends, and I guess we wanted to get your insight on what's been going on. For the viewers that don't know, League of Legends has a world tournament that there's four main regions: NA, EU, China, and Korea. And then there's also like smaller regions that they have to participate in the play-in stage, or is it group is play-in stage, right, Oscar?
Plans, but
Um
Vietnam does their first seed is qualified for groups.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yo, Vietnam, yo, I'm see
For the
my
culture.
people are becoming good enough just to get in, dude. Like that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
We've come a
Vietnam and
long way.
I think that the PCS region, so Taiwan basically, their
Mm,
first seed
Uh-huh.
is also automatically qualified. So yeah.
interesting. Okay.
So yeah, and so eventually they just all meet up. All these teams have to duke it out. These major regions get a couple more teams to be able to compete, just because of how big the regions are or how popular the game is in that region. Um, and basically we made it past the play-ins and group stage, and we are in quarterfinals now of the World Tournament.
Yep.
And T1, which is a South Korean team, and RNG, a Chinese team, are competing against each other in the quarterfinals.
Spoiler
Spoiler
alert.
alert.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. T1 defeated RNG 3-0 in the quarterfinals, and I just wanted to bring up different styles of League of Legends and like why each region kind of likes this, or like why it works against another region. For those that don't know, Chinese League of Legends is very aggro, I guess, very aggressive. They go for everything. Literally, they have a thing called skill check, and if you can't do the skill check, they're just gonna bully you the whole game. They don't care. They won't even care about the strategy because no what you can't stop them basically.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that's a thing for China. And then Koreans have been known to notoriously been known to just like play at turtle pace, like very calm, collected. Usually, on the organized side, that's pro play. Because when I was in Korea, I've seen those people in the PC bongs or PC rooms getting wild in there. Sometimes it's pretty funny. That also, but most of
Right.
the time they're chill.
So then, for would you
Um,
say then if you had to characterize it, right? So then China is like all out aggression, go for
mhm,
every single play, right? Like if you see something, go for it, right? That kind of
mhm,
thing. It's just basically, and this skill checks, which is basically like I'm gonna beat you 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, whatever the numbers, the cases might be.
right.
Just going for everything, invasions,
Yeah.
everything, right? Like they're just looking to, they're just instigators, right? They want to start something up,
Yeah.
and then so in
Basically.
Korea, it's all about like discipline. Would you say like discipline, very
I
like
think
cerebral,
it's yeah, it is very
more
cerebral,
cautious, more
and
cautious
there
at
it's
least,
like yeah, very cautious.
opportunistic, more cautious, right?
Yeah, opportunity like very calculated. I feel
Calculated.
like
Okay,
everything's very calculated.
Yeah.
right.
EU, like there used to be a joke when EU was starting to make some noise a little bit a couple years back. They were like supposed to be like a renaissance of what League of Legends could be. Like they're doing stuff that people don't even understand. They're just doing shit, but it works somehow. Like it broke like Korea at the times thinking, because like what the hell are these people doing? But it also had some sense to it when people actually try to analyze it later.
Would you say
Um,
maybe like the Koreans were like kind of meta setters or something like this, or like they set the stage
yeah,
stylistically, right? And then
Yeah.
yeah,
either you have to match them and beat them at their own game, or take a different style, right? And like
yeah,
maybe like match them or like overmatch them in a different way. I guess it's like a mismatch sort of hunting sort of situation, right?
yeah. And
Okay.
then I don't know what to call NA. We try to copy Korea.
We just
No,
try to copy them,
no,
but we
we're
fail
just
at
a
it.
for fun region. That's okay, dude. We're a for
Yeah,
fun region.
yo,
Yeah.
because like
Retirement home for
also
other regions.
the people talk about it, and it is kind of true that just like maybe the environment of our rank system in League, or just like what something about our culture also maybe just doesn't uh breed like the top talents. It's not as great of environment if you want to be like a pro level player as in like Korea or China, like, or even EU. Like the environment's just better for a pro player. We might be better for like streamers and something like that because you get the clips, etc. But it's not as good for pro play.
Right.
So I don't know. I guess we are for fun region, and
NA
so
for
that's
fun
why we're
region?
just going to mark out NA of like why every team can beat NA or every region can beat NA. We'll just talk about EU, China, and Korea. So Oscar, why do you think it's almost like a paper scissors rock kind of honestly? Now that I'm starting to think about it, like Korea kind of beats China. China can stop more easily on EU, and EU's so wacky that it kind of can beat Korea sometimes. What do you think? Why do you think that is the way it is as of now?
So I feel like EU and NA actually, um,
Hmm.
their main strategy is to copy whatever Korea or China is doing.
Hmm.
Um, they're not very good at it, and that's why you barely see them pass like quarterfinals, except
Yeah,
like maybe in 2019 when
it was
when
Caps
it was
and everybody.
G2, right?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah.
The reason why they made it is because they were actually not only were they good at their roles, but they had a really good champion pool. So
Oh
they
yeah.
kind of had, like the dream team, right?
Hmm.
Um, but even then, like once they got to the finals, they just got gapped in every way possible.
Hmm.
Um, the I don't know, the Asian teams are just straight up better. And you mentioned it earlier, and I'm pretty. This is, in my opinion, is probably one of the reasons why I think we almost always lose to them. Is just like their culture, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
I feel like in general, like the Asian culture is more passionate towards like their work and like
Hmm.
how like disciplined they are,
So a
right?
disciplined work ethic sort of
Yeah,
gap between, that's the
like
difference.
yeah, because we have like the Korean teams practice like I don't know like 16
Like a
hours a
shit
day.
ton.
Dude,
Yeah.
like none of the American teams do that. I think they tried doing it at one point, but like players got burned out or they just were unhappy and then they swapped
Hmm.
teams. That's just not really an a Western thing to do. Is to
Hmm.
put in that much work. Um, in anything, in my opinion, at
Hmm.
least, right? Um, I remember, I don't remember who it was. I think it was either Someday or not Someday. Maybe it was Summit. Um, a Korean player,
Okay.
and you know, whenever they would lose a game, they would just like go out to eat or some shit. You know, like
Hmm.
do something that's
Mm.
like not productive at all to analyze like what happened, right? And
Hmm.
like Korean teams or Chinese teams, like Eastern teams, they don't do that. Like they, if they lose a game, they will sit there and analyze over and over, watch replays over and over, like what happened, what could we have done better, you know?
Hmm.
The Western, the way the Western teams kind of like manage their organization and manage their teams, it's more lax
Hmm.
compared to the
Hmm.
Eastern teams.
Okay.
So really, what I'm getting with is like the overall amount of work the Eastern teams put in compared to the Western teams is far more greater, and I
Hmm.
think that's one of the reasons why they're always like two steps ahead of us.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Um, every now and then we'll have a dream team, right?
Yeah.
So like G2,
Hmm.
uh, you can arguably say C9 as well.
That one time, like it was
That
around
one
that
time we
time
went to
too.
semis, yeah. But
Dude,
even
I was
then,
in Korea and I watched that.
The
I was
C9
there to watch
miracle
that
run.
their run.
Mhm.
Some of the Korean high school students that I played basketball with, like we went together and watched that live, and we kind of took like half bets, like who would pay for dinner. I just bought it anyways, but uh
Mhm.
like if America makes it, then like all four of them have to split the bill for our dinner, and if like a Korean team or whoever beat the NA team, I'd pay. The NA team lost, so I ended up paying for them. It's some troll shit,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
but you know,
there's several reasons, but that's like one of the
So
reasons, I
that's
think.
like the baseline like work ethic, like at the very bare minimum, like before we even get started on anything else, right? Like it's one of those things where culture wise we believe that maybe like the work ethic has a lot to do at like this is your foundation, right? So then if you're not really
Sure.
building from there, it's not going to go anywhere, I guess, right? So then the 16 hours versus the 8 hours, and then hey, let's go grab dinner together or whatever.
Yeah, like now that you mentioned foundation, I feel one of the things that I think the Eastern teams do better is it feels like those regions, specific or like even I honestly include EU to a degree, is they know a style and they stick to it and they find ways to win with that style.
Okay.
They also, I think, they potentially maybe execute their game plans better. Obviously, in league and whatever, like you're not gonna get your dream scenario all the time, so you have to adapt too, right? But they understand what the game plan originally was, and they're just better at staying with the strategy and adapting within that. They're adjusting their tactics and within the strategy, I guess you
Okay.
could say. I think that's what a lot of when I'm watching an RNG or a T1, like I feel like they're good at that.
So if it's like a Bob
Especially the
Ross,
Korean
like a
teams.
canvas, right? Like you have this canvas, and then you're just gonna do the broad strokes and fill it in somewhere along the way, right? That makes sense. Like they have an idea, they know what they want to do, right? And then you just
Yeah.
do that. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, I also got to see T1 and RNG play when they were playing that quarterfinals. They in game one, I believe they baited a Baron attempt, or T1 did, the Korean team baited a Baron attempt. If you understand League of Legends, like to take a fight in pro level, like you want vision basically, right? So they baited the Baron attempt, but they really didn't want that. They wanted the dragon.
Oh,
So
okay.
but RNG was like slow to the play, so they had to react and they clear all the words, etc. Right? And after they wasted all their words for Baron, they just went. It was an early part of the game, so they went to straight to Dragon, and RNG can't keep up at that point. So I feel like Korea, like Oscar said, is they're always like playing steps ahead. They're so calculated, cerebral about the game, where they're always setting up situations where they're okay to win, I guess, or like they're creating winning situations.
Are you tilted?
I'm always tilted. Are you tilted?
Man, I'm tilted to the max. I'm always tilted.
Special guest, young Oscar, are you tilted?
Dude, you can see it in my eyes, dude. I'm like ultra tilted all the time.